Hi, folks. Thanks for joining us today again for yet another really exciting interview with one of our MSPs, Dan Stitton from Guardian Technology Group. Dan, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Oh, you're on mute, Dan.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem. Let's try that again.
Good to be here, Dave. It's good to see you again, man.
Yeah, you too. So we run into each other a few times, right? And this was an opportunity I wanted to get with you, just to learn more about your company and your MSP. Tell us a bit about yourself and about the company.
I've been in cybersecurity for about 24 years now. The company started last year, August of 2023. I've been in the banking industry for the last 20 years as a CISO, a network security engineer, infrastructure manager, director of IT, kind of the gamut of everything in the IT security realm and executive leadership. I started the company mainly because I just wanted a new adventure. I'd been in banking for so long. I had started all the way from help desk in the Marine Corps, then as a tactical network specialist, and then I moved up to where I'm going in the field supporting operations. Then I went to the banking industry. Started out as a network security admin, moved to a administrator, then an engineer, and then worked my way up until I was the CIO. And I just wanted something new, wanted a new challenge. I think same reason you started some of the things you've done, Dave. It's just kind of a wanted to expand, wanted to learn new things, wanted to do a new adventure.
So you touched on one of the questions I was actually going to ask you a few minutes ago. It's very clear that you have a wide variety of experience in various fields, not only in cybersecurity, but in some executive functions as well. The one question I wanted to pose to you is, you decided and you said that you wanted something new, you wanted a new challenge. What was the birth of that? Why did you come to that realization?
I've always wanted to run my own company. I've enjoyed every place I've ever worked at. I've had some great teams, some great people that I've met, some great mentors. But I've always wanted to run my own company. My wife has been a teacher for 30 years. She had mentioned to me that she was thinking about retiring. We got our last kid out of the house. We've got 6 kids and 10 grandkids.
Wow.
And our last one got out of the house 2 years ago. So it just felt like a good time to do it. And I knew that if I didn't take the leap, I never would. So here I am. I'm enjoying the adventure.
Well, congratulations to your wife for looking at possible retirement, and congratulations for you for starting the new company, right?
Yes, I'm enjoying it.
Well, good. I'm glad. Let's dig a bit more into the company. So, your website and your services, and again, we've spoken back and forth a few times, but on your website it says veteran experience, and I wanted to focus on the veteran experience. You mentioned a few minutes ago the Marine Corps. Tell us a bit about your experience through your military service.
Well, when I went to join the Marine Corps, I took the ASVAB, and I told them that I would like to do something where I can that would possibly be a good career in the future,
Sure.
and that would allow me whenever I'm on base to go to school. I didn't know anything about it, what I was going to get into, but I kept taking tests. I kept going up to the MEPS office in Houston, and I went up there like 4 times, taking like 8 different tests, and they just kept on asking me to take these additional tests. So when I got out of boot camp, they told me that I was going to be a tactical network specialist. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know a lot about computers at the time, but I got a crash course in it. I was married and had a child who was 2 at the time. I was 22 when I went in. And so I pretty much just studied. I stayed on base. I studied. I lifted weights, went to class. On the weekends, nobody was there because it was in the middle of the desert, about 30 minutes from Palm Springs. So I did that, went to my first duty station. I had about 1,000 users between me and another guy. So I slept up at the shop for probably about 8 weeks. seeing my family off and on until we got things until I felt like I was comfortable. And then I went into the field quite a bit, um, doing just like combined armed exercises, different field exercises, things like that. Then I joined base, and I actually got to work on the SIPRNet. That was interesting and fun. SIPRNet is the secret internet that the military and the government uses. Um, I wasn't deeply involved. I mainly looked over routing, monitored the connections, made sure that everything was working correctly. If there was a problem, then I would troubleshoot. That's about it. I spent 4 years in, then I got out and joined the banking industry.
And now, fast forward, I'm not sure how many years ago that was, but fast forward so many years, you now own Guardian Technology Group, who focuses on a lot of the technology that, what you just mentioned there.
Yes. I call myself a managed cybersecurity resilience provider. I focus on VCISO, Virtual Chief Information Security Officer, uh, cybersecurity resilience, the cybersecurity compliance as a service, and then security operations.
So, the folks who watch this and the folks who may be watching now I understand the military concepts and the acronyms, SIPRNet. I get all that. A lot of people will not understand that, right?
Yeah, I shouldn't have used so many
When
acronyms.
That's okay. It's, acronyms are, whether it's military or technology, we have acronyms all over the place, right? So going into now what you're doing, VCIO, virtual chief information officer, a topic that came up a little while ago, and I wanted to just mention this to you. A topic that came up a little while ago is, are companies using a lot of VCIOs? Are companies putting a lot of pressure on VCIOs or CIOs? What is your opinion on that?
There is a lot of pressure on VCISOs and VCIO, CISOs.
Sure.
I, I think that it's warranted. There's been a lot of lackadaisical behavior out there where the due diligence wasn't taken care of, or perhaps the due diligence was taken care of by the CISO, but the business courage to report that to the board, to have them sign a waiver or an exception to policy, those
Sure.
kind of things weren't done. And that's when there needs to be checks and balances, and there needs to be a light shined on it so that we can strengthen ourselves and improve.
And this is where your company comes in to offer these services, correct?
Yes, yes. I Guardian will come in, and I mainly focus on the banking industries, banks and credit unions, and then I also white label to MSPs if they
Sure.
want to resell my services. But we go in. We've got years of expertise. We've seen. I mean, I've worked for the last 20 years in the most highly regulated industry
Sure.
in the country. So I've seen some of the things that's going to stand out, things that people may miss if they
Sure.
haven't been in that industry. But yes, we go in. We do a risk assessment. We create a strategic roadmap that's going to be like, hey, this is what we need to do now. This is what you need to do like midway, and here's your long-term plan for what we're going to do. We focus on vulnerability management, compliance management. We go through their policies and procedures, things like that, and try to get them up to speed or up to a place to where they can make strong business decisions and know that the cybersecurity and the risk is being lowered as much as possible.
So let me try to put this into a bigger picture, and just please correct me if I'm wrong here, but basically is what you're saying is we understand you have the experience. That's very clear here. You come in, you create this roadmap that you're talking about of XYZ steps, and you start at point A, and the idea is to get to the end, somewhere wherever the end is, right? And you advise and consult, and your company comes in and provides that consultation. Now, the one question I do have is, does your company also provide the services with that consultation, or is that something separate?
It's separate as part of the VCISO offering.
Okay.
We do offer cybersecurity compliance as a service. So say that it's not banking, or let's say it's healthcare, and they just got into trouble. They've just recently had a breach or was in an incident, and they needed to get up to snuff really quickly. So we would go in. and we would create policies and procedures. We would work on the processes involved there. We would help with the recovery functionality and do it in the way that's going to work in the future state, so that it's a long-term solid security plan. So yes, we do offer cybersecurity compliance as a service, where we will actually do the actions in order to be compliant, but it's not part of the VCISO service.
Got it. So someone who's watching this now in the future, if they come to you and say, Dan, I need help with compliance, what is the first step that you guys take?
We would go in and we would talk to them about why do you need to be compliant? What is the framework or the security framework that you're interested in, or the regulatory industry that you're interested in? And then we would first do a risk assessment, and that would take probably about 4 weeks, working with different departments, individuals. If it's a smaller company, we would work with that individual, walk them through the risk assessment, and then we would come up with a strategic plan that showed, hey, here's what needs to get done, here's your most critical, and here's the controls that we need to put in place in order to remediate or mitigate.
Okay. Great, that explains a lot. Dan, we're running up on time here, but before we do finish up, I wanted to ask you one question that I always ask every single MSP in these interviews. Is, and I know there's thousands upon thousands of MSPs across the United States. What is it about your company that makes you guys different?
Well, I think what makes us different is, one, we get the mission accomplished. Two, I've got 20 years of actual service in the most highly regulated industry out there. I know that I've got a lot of friends that are VCISOs, and those guys are wonderful. I enjoy them. I'm more of a co-opetition kind of guy than a competition guy. I try to help everybody that I come in contact with to be successful. I want everybody to do great and to have the life that they want. But I've been out there. I've been actually doing CISO, CIO services for the last 10 years. And I've been in cybersecurity for the last 24 years. So I haven't been working in a managed provider type scenario. I didn't learn this in order to do to offer these services. I've actually been doing the services. So I feel like that's kind of my differentiator, is that I can see I know the little tips that make things better. I know the gotchas that you're gonna fall into if you don't do these little things or do the big things. And so that's where I feel like I stand out and Guardian stands out.
Great, that's fantastic. And we're about to close in a minute here, but before we do close, Dan, anyone that's watching now in the future, do you have any closing comments for anyone? Anything you'd just like to say?
I just want to say that Guardian's out there to help everybody any way that they can to be more resilient. And if you're an MSP out there that needs help with any of these services, or you've got questions, please reach out and ask me. I don't mind helping. I want to help other companies be successful. I'm interested in everyone's success, not just Guardians. I also want to say too, I know we don't have a lot of time, but I want to thank Dave, you for doing such a great job with MSPAA. It is obvious that you have a strong heart for helping others, and we all appreciate it.
No, I appreciate that, Dan. Thanks. And, you and I, we've had a very lengthy conversation at one or two events, and I think we're both on the same page. This is a community. It is. We all support each other. And I think the more that we all build each other up, like yourself, the more the community is going to thrive. I believe that, and I know a lot of MSPs that we speak to believe that as well, like yourself. But I wanted to thank you for this time. I wanted to thank you for your insight, for your services, and the insight that you give to people watching. Folks, if you want to reach out to Dan, like I said, I've spoken to him a lot, and he is 100% someone who wants to help. So if you need to have a chat, or if you want to have a chat with him, please reach out to him. His name is below, Guardian Technology Group. If you want to visit the website is down below. Go have a look. Maybe it's something you need. Maybe you can just find some sort of information that you have not thought of. Dan, thank you so much for this time. Thank you so much for your insight, and I hope you have a really awesome Thanksgiving.
You too, Dave, and tell everyone I said hello.
I will do. Thanks a lot, Dan. Speak to you soon.
All right. Bye.